stunned at how extraordinary they were in everything they did. Everything they did, I just went, you have got to be. So finally, in a conversation during the project we were working on, I said, you know, you guys, can you just explain to me one thing? How is it that every time I come here, I'm amazed? And the CEO of the company looks at me and he says, that's an easy question. We choose to amaze you. And I smiled and I said, really? He goes, really? We choose amazing over not amazing. We choose extraordinary over ordinary. And we let ordinary opportunities go. Sometimes we regret it, but we just don't do them. We do extraordinary work. And whatever sacrifice we make to have to do that, we make it. And I said, every time I come here, I'm amazed at you guys. And he said, so it works, huh? I said, well, it works for me. Does it work for you economically? He says, there's hardships around being extraordinary. But I don't think anybody that works here would do it any other way. So I said, well, that's an interesting perspective. And then I realized that the distance between ordinary and extraordinary was very small. It wasn't big. It was just the discipline of risk associated with doing something like that. It was that there was this horizon that they saw, and it was just a different color than everybody's horizon. But there was no reason why everybody couldn't do the same thing they did. No reason at all. They didn't know what extraordinary was. See, extraordinary is this everyday thing that I ask the question for. That's the starting point. That's all I do. Is I say, here's our project. Stop. Is it extraordinary? No. Can it be extraordinary? Probably not. Do we still want to do it? Yeah, we have to do it. Then we need a way to make it extraordinary. No one would buy a calendar that said ordinary chickens. They wouldn't. They would buy extraordinary chicken calendar because that's an extraordinary chicken. It's if you bought the ordinary chicken calendar, you know what it would look like? It would just be a bunch of damn white chickens. And you would say, this is not a very extraordinary, but extraordinary chickens? Oh, extraordinary chickens, I'm in. I'm for extraordinary chickens. This is the blue hole outside of Belize. It's an anomaly. In the warm waters that surround it, this is an ultra-deep, crater-created ocean pit that's freezing cold compared to the warm waters around it. It's an extraordinary anomaly that occurs in nature. So all extraordinary isn't physically done. In fact, some of my favorite extraordinary isn't. These are the moving rocks in the Mojave Desert of California. Now, you can look these up online, and there'll be a million different ideas of why it happens, but nobody knows. They move basically by themselves. And they move as many as 7 feet a year, some of them, and no one's quite sure how or why. They don't know. I love that about those rocks, that no one quite knows it. If you look at Jupiter, planet Jupiter, you will see a gigantic red dot in the lower southern extremities of the planet. It's a storm that rages on Jupiter. For some reason, and no one knows why, it moves in a counterclockwise circle when everything else on the planet moves clockwise. I love the extraordinary storm that's on Jupiter. I love the fact that no one knows what in the hell or how those things are moving. But more importantly, I love when someone thinks extraordinary. So this is the Nula bike. Ellison is the designer. He enters an automobile design contest. And believe me, the winners of this automobile design contest get contracts with big car companies. It's a big deal. So as he's designing his car, he discovers there's a bicycle in the car design. Didn't expect it. Didn't see it coming, didn't know it was coming. Ends up designing a bicycle. All the cars are debuted at this show. And out he comes with his bicycle. And everybody goes, ooh, wow. And one of the judges goes, where's your car? I didn't do a car. So you entered a bicycle in a car contest. You brought a knife to a gunfight. Yeah, it is. And they go, it's an extraordinary design. He said, it's more than an extraordinary design. And he pulled the working model of the bike out from behind the curtain. And he says, you want to ride it? And the judge says, yeah, I do. Came up, got on the bike, rode it across the stage and back again. He goes, my God, it's so freaking comfortable. I feel like I'm floating on the element on it. He goes, yeah, I thought you'd like to see it in action. So who wins the car design contest? The guy that designed a bicycle that he found in a car design. But that's not the only way that kind of idea works. 1931, 3M created duct tape, the #1 selling product in the history of the company that produces over 50,000 products a year. They have the largest catalog of products of any major company on the planet. For 1931, let's move to 1942. It's the duct tape team's meeting. And they're sitting around the room, and one of the guys says, I have an idea. Why don't we make it a different color? And the guy said, are you a moron? This is the #1 selling tape on the planet Earth. Everybody knows it's silver. Why would we make it another color? Shut up. 1952. I have an idea. I'm new on the duct tape team. But have we ever thought about making it in different colors? Shut your mouth, you stupid 3M guy. Let me explain this to you. It's our #1 seller. We don't screw with it because everybody knows it's silver. Let's go to 1971. Yeah. You're new on the duct tape team? Yeah. Why don't we make it in colors? Every year we get a guy like you. Every year somebody comes in with that dumbass suggestion. So, no. 1982. Why don't we make it in a different color? And the guy said, I swear, and I've already made 5 rolls. Here you go. Yellow, red, green. Well, we should make that in different colors because that looks great, and I can fix my garden hose with that green one. It won't look so bad. Color comes into the play after being told no for year after year. And what does it do to the 3M line of profitability? It's a 37% increase in net revenue in year 1 of colored duct tape. Doesn't sound like a big idea, does it? It's a really big idea. It's the bicycle at the car show. And it's not the only idea. Because in 1931, General Mills, at the same time 3M in Minneapolis, both companies in Minneapolis, creates duct tape. General Mills makes Cheerios. Becomes the #1 selling cereal on the planet Earth. 1 out of every 7 boxes of cereal sold is Cheerios. Do I have to go through the entire meeting thing again? Because, you know, for sure, somewhere in that Cheerios meeting, somebody raised their hand and said, could we make it in a different flavor? Because really, in all honesty, they kind of taste like crap. And a guy says, no, we can't. It's our #1. They go through the duct tape thing. Until a guy in 1973 says, I got an idea. Why don't we make it in a different flavor? And before the guy could pronounce no, he shoved a spoonful of Honey Nut Cheerios in his mouth. Bam! And the guy went, oh, these are great. These Honey Nut Cheerios kick butt. We're making Honey Nut Cheerios. Changes the face of Cheerios, right? To the point now where there's peanut butter and chocolate and frosted and multigrain. All of those aspects. Remember at the beginning of the day I told you this was about big ideas. It's about dazzling elements. It's about, you guys are pretty dazzling. You have beautiful, dazzling work that you guys do. I'm always amazed and how spectacular I think your work is when I see it. But I don't think you ask the question enough, and I don't think you ask it all the time. I think you ask it in standardized format on what our outcome is. I don't want you asking dazzling questions in standard outcome. I want you to ask it now because big ideas, small ideas, all these ideas are the only way you will get better, period. In a competitive marketplace, it's the only way you'll get better. And you can choose to do nothing or you can choose to do something. Those are your only 2 choices. Everybody starts in the same line. Everybody. Everybody starts the same. Sony Ericsson big tennis tournament going on today. The first day of the tournament, 64 players. Everybody started the same. Everybody started the same. March Madness, before the first tip-off last Thursday, everybody started the same way. Everybody starts the same way. I don't care about your start. But that finishing is really, really important. And you get to choose, as in great Yoda style, as Yoda tells young Luke, as Luke is trying to lift the X-Wing fighter out of the swamp, and it crashes back in, and he goes, I tried. And Yoda looks at him and says, there is no try. There's only do or not do. And to couple that story, you have to continue with the scene. Because when it's Luke's time to go down into the hole and face his greatest fear, face Vader in the hole, He sits there and looks at Yoda and he says, I'm not afraid. And Yoda pauses for a moment and looks up at him and says, you will be. Because in order to do something big, in order to do something new, it is a risk. And risk is filled with fear.